This is Emmett.
And Jessica.
And you're listening to the Friendly Atheist Podcast. Please go to patreon.com/Friendly Atheist Podcast to support this show. Get your ad-free bonus episodes as well and videos. I'm watching you. I'm looking at the camera now.
Hi.
It's been a couple of weeks and we have so much to discuss. I know you want to give a shout out really quick.
Sarah H. I don't know if we have permission to say her last name. Just sent us a whole packet of. Oh, I just realized some of the cameras messed up. There it goes. Packet of stickers, and they are adorable and funny, and it's quotes about eating the rich, which I'm down for. This one's a kitty cat.
Lovely.
I offered it to him, and he said no.
You know how I feel about animals.
Yeah.
Also, I want to give a shout out. Last week, I had the honor to speak to the Ethical Society of St. Louis. It was an awesome event. They were just awesome people, great values, great community. And we were able to talk, besides just a lecture, there was also some in-person discussions about stuff. Awesome group. If you live anywhere near St. Louis, please check them out. The Ethical Society of St. Louis.
Cool.
And I want to give the honor is the wrong word, I feel, but one of our dear friends in the atheist community, his name is Bob Barnes. He recently died, and he was 86. He died of cancer. He is a guy who founded a conference in Canada, in Ontario, called BajaCon.
Oh, I've heard of that.
And they're on year 5 now. I've spoken at a couple of their events, but at a time when a lot of atheist conferences seem to be going away unless they're run by the big organizations, they decided to start one as a local community, and they started it. And unlike pretty much every similar type of event like that, this one grew every single year. They did it. They keep bringing in interesting speakers every year. I saw their lineup for next year. It's awesome. And this is a guy who, he would send out an email. Are you interested in coming this year? We'd like to have you. I'm like, yeah, I would love to come there. And then for the next several months, and I've talked to Seth Andrews about this because the same thing happened with him, Bob would then start calling us to run through his ideas for the conference. And it's like, yeah, dude, everything you're doing is great. You don't need to run them by us. We're happy to be there. But that's the sort of guy. He wanted to make sure everyone who was speaking there was happy. And then he would go out of his way to make sure all the attendees were having the time of their life. That's why this event kept growing every year.
And
they donated to charity every year because of ticket sales. So sorry to see him go. But man, that conference and the team he created to bring it together is in good hands.
Well,
so
here's to him.
Yeah, let's there's so much to discuss, and I think I want to start by talking about this story that has gone viral over the past couple of days. I don't know how much of this you know about.
Not to brag, I've somehow gotten even more offline.
Perfect.
I fully deleted Facebook, not from my phone, but from my thing, because I kept opening it and it kept making me angry, and I was like, stop that. Now I'm on Reddit a lot, which is much chiller.
It's a mistake. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
So this, we have to go back to Oklahoma, and this is a story that doesn't involve Ryan Walters somehow.
Well, he's gone. He's away from my life. I miss him. I miss him every day. I think of him.
He makes a cameo in the story, I should say, because it is Oklahoma. Okay. This story
8 people there.
Involves a young woman named Samantha Fulnecki. She's a conservative student at the University of Oklahoma, and she insists she is a victim of religious discrimination because she got a 0 on a homework assignment. See, you did follow the news.
I didn't realize this was college. I thought this was high school.
Oh, don't worry. I got everything for you.
Interesting.
She failed a homework assignment. And now she claims she's the victim of religious discrimination, and every conservative media outlet you can think of is now jumping on board this ship.
Sure. They love to be persecuted, never are persecuted, make it up instead.
Am I going to read you the whole essay? Hell yeah, I am.
No,
okay. So the assignment, as best I can tell.
Maybe you should do this for your speech team this year.
I should.
Do a dramatic reenactment of this.
Oh my God. The assignment was for a psychology course, and basically, here's my understanding of what this assignment was. Hey, students, we're going to ask you to read a published article from a journal, and then respond to it. You could say whatever you want.
Like any scientific journal? Any kind of journal?
Yeah, I mean, it's a scientific journal. The paper in question is Gender Typicality, Peer Relations, and Mental Health. And this paper in question basically showed that students who are gender typical, cisgender people, tend to be perceived as more popular, and boys who are gender atypical suffer worse mental health outcomes. So that's what the researchers are trying to figure out.
Sure.
And this is what they tried to show. Now, the thing about all research papers like this is that if you want to pick apart how they went about doing that survey, did a study, okay, that's what it's there for. If you want to say, you know what, now that they've done this, they should also follow up and investigate this.
Sure.
That might be a good follow-up thing. Like, great. That's exactly what we want you to respond to.
Right.
Do you agree? Do you disagree? Like, do you think they came to the wrong conclusion based on what they found? The professors of this course, they basically said, hey, students, in 650 words, something of substance, respond to that paper in an essay. You could talk about how the issue is worth studying, how they personally connected or didn't to the research, etc.
So everybody is assigned this one article.
Everyone is assigned this paper.
They just have to read it and make a response of any kind to it. Got it.
There was a rubric floating around about this particular assignment.
College, being a lit major was the fucking best. It was all bullshit like this. I loved it.
I mean, if you look at the rubric, it's semi-vague, but I think that's because everyone knows how these papers work.
Yeah.
Like, you can read it, you can think about it, you react to it. We just want to see that you've wrestled with the ideas in question.
Yeah.
Right? And the rubric literally said this: the best reaction papers illustrate that students have read the assigned materials and engaged in critical thinking about some aspect of the article. And the professors very deliberately did not say, talk about this, do that. Just respond to it in whatever way you want to. And they said, because this is important, you get 10 points for a clear tie-in to the assigned article.
Okay.
10 points for a thoughtful response. 5 points if it's clearly written. Because again, this is, I think if you do the math, this is 3% of their overall grade.
Oh.
You know, because you don't get a ton of homework assignments in college.
Right.
This is a small one. Whatever. Do it. You have several of these in the course of a semester.
I'm just going to start writing essays for fun again.
Right? So this person, as far as I can tell, Fulnecki, she did not really connect her essay to the article.
Okay.
She didn't react to anything it said.
Okay.
The best thing you could say about it is maybe if she wrote it in fourth grade, she would get a perfect score. Because you wrote some sentences. Nicely done.
The beginnings were all capitalized, periods at the end.
She got a score of 0. Now, I will be honest, I think that's generous.
What?
But okay, here's her essay. There are 4 sections to it. I will read you part 1. Are you ready for my dramatic reenactment?
Jesus. Good thing it's a Friendly Atheist Nights episode. And we
You're
got
right.
My good friend Wine.
Yes. This article was very thought-provoking and caused me to thoroughly evaluate the idea of gender and the role it plays in our society.
So far, so good. Didn't do what it said in the tin.
The article discussed peers using teasing as a way to enforce gender norms. I do not necessarily see this as a problem.
Dope. Great. Love this already.
To be fair, so far she is reacting to it.
Yeah.
But okay. Pro-bullying, but all right.
Listen,
that is a reaction.
Listen, sometimes you have to write like moot shit and you just sort of have to make a position.
Let us continue. I do not necessarily see this as a problem. God made male and female and made us differently from each other on purpose and for a purpose.
And boom goes the dynamite.
God is very intentional with what he makes, and I believe trying to change that would only do more harm. Gender roles and tendencies should not be considered stereotypes.
She shouldn't say more harm because she's not comparing it to anything. That's not how writing works.
Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts. Let me repeat that one. Let me repeat that sentence. It's the greatest sentence you will ever read.
Did you say womanly twice?
Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts.
Double womanly.
The same goes for men.
I don't know if I've said the word womanly ever in my life before tonight. She shoved it into one sentence twice.
I kind of like the next one. The same goes for men. Men also have womanly desires, I found out. Yeah. Anyway.
Classic dangling modifier.
God created men in the image of his courage and strength, and he created women in the image of his beauty. He intentionally created women differently than men, and we should live our lives with that in mind. So, that is paragraph 1. She doesn't directly mention the article. She doesn't quote from it ever.
No.
There's no indication she read anything besides the title and introduction. Yes, that's right. She jumps right into what the Bible says as if she's delivering a sermon. Yeah. And the thing is, even if you're reading a bad Christian writer, they will at least cite Bible and verse. She did not even bother to do that because this woman cannot even cite the Bible.
God, you're right.
There's no
didn't even do
there's no parenthetical Genesis,
because at least that would be like referencing something. Instead of just sitting and like barfing under your
Yeah. The problem isn't
laptop.
Just that she's like proselytizing in an essay. It's that she's giving a generic anti-trans response when the assignment said respond to something very specific.
Yeah.
Like she claims the article caused her to thoroughly evaluate the idea of gender and the role it plays in our society.
And she landed on, no, I think we're good. I think gender binary, gender norms, great.
The essay never actually shows us any proof that she has thoroughly evaluated this.
No.
It's almost shocking that the very first sentence was not, Webster's defines gender as... Like, what is going on? And that was just the beginning. Now, maybe you think she goes into more detail later in the paper. She did not. Let me read the next bit.
Hit me.
It is frustrating to me when I read articles like this and discussion posts from my classmates of so many people trying to conform to the same mundane opinions so they do not step on people's toes.
Well, that's a nothing burger of a sentence.
I think that it is a cowardly and insincere way to live. It is important to use the freedom of speech we have been given in this country. Shit. And I personally believe that eliminating gender in our society would be detrimental, as it pulls us farther from God's original plan for humans. It is perfectly normal for kids to follow gender stereotypes because that is how God made us. The reason so many girls want to feel womanly and care for others in a motherly way is not because they feel pressured to fit into social norms. It's because God created and chose them to reflect his beauty and his compassion in that way. In Genesis, no verse given, God says that it is not good for a man to be alone. So he created a helper for man, which is a woman. Many people assume the word helper in this context it's late. Many people assume the word helper in this context to be condescending and offensive to women. However, the original word in Hebrew is ezer kenegdo, and that directly translates to helper equal to.
Did she cite that at least?
Nope. Okay. Additionally, God describes himself in the Bible using ezer kenegdo, or helper, and he describes his Holy Spirit as our helper as well. This shows the importance God places on the role of the helper, women's roles. God does not view women as less significant than men. He created us with such intentionally and care, and he made women in his image of being a helper and in the image of his beauty. Unquote.
I mean, at least she didn't use ChatGPT.
God, if only she did. If leaning into that role means I am, quote, following gender stereotypes, then I am happy to be following a stereotype that aligns with the gifts and abilities God gave me as a woman. So she kind of came close to offering some substance when she said, when I read articles like this, yada, yada, yada. Except she did not bother elaborating on anything the article said or even what her peers said in discussion, online discussions. She just went back to her sermon.
Do you know what I find really illuminating is in the beginning and like the second chunk, she said something about everybody's trying to be quiet so they don't step on anybody's toes.
Yes.
Because she thinks that everybody thinks trans people are icky and we're all just like holding our noses to like deal with it because it's more important for us to be nice, which like, even if that was the case, that's fine. But it
never strikes her that people might genuinely just support trans people.
Yeah. Or just like love their trans friends and family and just want them to be themselves.
Also, she said it was, they have the same mundane opinion. Why is it mundane to have an opinion that trans people are worthy of basic respect? I don't know. Also, if you're going to argue that women are predisposed to feel womanly and care for others in a motherly way.
What's she studying?
Psych. You should at least explain why plenty of women, including many Christian ones, disagree, which she did not. Here's the next bit. I do not think men and women are pressured to be more masculine or feminine.
Okay.
I strongly disagree with the idea from the article that encouraging acceptance of diverse gender expressions could improve students' confidence. This is good. I wonder if she supports it or backs it up. Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders and everyone should be whatever they want to be is demonic and severely harms America's youth. I do not want kids to be teased or bullied in school.
Bullshit.
Even though she
literally said it's a good idea.
However, pushing the lie that everyone has their own truth and everyone can do whatever they want and be whoever they want is not biblical whatsoever. The Bible says that our lives are not our own, but that our lives and bodies belong to the Lord for his glory. I live my life based on this truth and firmly believe that there would be less gender issues and insecurities in children if they were raised knowing that they do not belong to themselves, but they belong to the Lord. Jesus.
I have a question. What is the class? What is this class?
We don't actually know. It's just a psych class. She's a junior, as far as I can tell, majoring in psych.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I'm dying to know if this is like a class that is supposed to be about gender issues or if it's just I
don't think it is.
Oh, okay.
It's one of many things they were discussing in the class.
Oh, boy.
She writes that she disagrees with the idea that encouraging acceptance of diverse gender expressions could improve students' confidence. But then instead of explaining why that is, what the evidence is, or what the researchers got wrong, she just said tolerance of trans people is demonic.
Well, I can't wait till she's sworn in on the Supreme Court. It's going to be a lovely day.
Yeah. Also, you have to appreciate the blunt Christian cruelty in the part that goes, I do not want kids to be teased or bullied in school. However. Yeah. And here's the final bit of the sermon.
Oh, God.
Overall, reading articles such as this one encourage me to one day raise my children knowing that they have a heavenly Father who loves them and cherishes them deeply, and that having their identity firmly rooted in who he is will give them the satisfaction and acceptance that the world can never provide for them. My prayer for the world, and specifically for American society and youth, is that they would not believe the lies being spread from Satan that make them believe they are better off as another gender than what God made them. I pray that they feel God's love and acceptance as who he originally created them to be.
Okay, would you watch a sitcom about me and this girl being freshman roommates?
God. Holy crap. One episode, series finale.
Just explode.
Yeah. So, to be clear, no one cares and no one asked, and she didn't show any proof that she understood the idea of the paper, much less grappled with any of it.
I see you have that classic Happy Gilmore
do have
clip
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
Yes.
Excuse me. That was actually...
How dare you?
For a millennial, that was really blasphemous.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. Yeah. So it's no wonder she failed. Like, the paper is bad. She didn't do the damn work.
Yeah.
Like, you would fail turning this in at Liberty University. That's how bad it was.
Like, that's just gobbledygook.
Yeah.
Also, I want to go back. She said something earlier about men have never been forced to be male or something like that.
I do not think men and women are pressured to be more masculine or feminine.
That's really interesting, Hammett, because guess what? I listened to a podcast this week and I learned a thing. And guess what? I'm going to tell you about it. It's actually not a huge thing, but there is 99% Invisible.
Yeah.
They have another thing called... Avery Trufelman does a thing about clothing. It's very amazing. And recently they did one about basically why activewear looks like what it looks like, why military uniforms look like what they look like. And apparently in the turn of the 20th century, when although there were still being Native Americans were being slaughtered en masse during westward expansion, America was not involved in a foreign war for a long time. And people started talking about, maybe we get rid of armies. Maybe we go to, negotiations instead. And there was a term coined called peace rot. Because they thought men would become namby-pamby little pussyfooters because they didn't go to war. So I guess what I'm saying is, all they do is enforce, make men be more masculine.
Yeah,
because
you know who pressures men to be more masculine? The Bible, in her opinion.
Yeah.
And also every Republican ever.
I know this isn't an original thought, but, if gender expression were just natural and inherent to gender, then you wouldn't have to work so fucking hard at it. Like, if you are secure in your masculinity, you can ride a pink bike and not feel like you have to murder somebody because you're embarrassed. Like, truly, this performative masculinity is gotten so embarrassing. You know, I got my hair cut today. Swap. And my hairdresser said that we're at right now, our government is the part in the Barbie movie when the Kens take over. That's just what the government is right now. They're just all in the Mojo Dojo Casa White House.
There you go.
And it's correct. Anyway.
So she gets a 0 on this paper. She's very mad.
Oh my God. And I'm sure she wrote in like big red marker on it, like, and boo God. Because whenever they try to do fake graffiti, they don't do it correctly.
In the God's Not Dead version of this movie, that is how that went. So she raises her concerns with the professors, the instructors, who are like the 2 TAs for this class.
Which, I'm sorry, one more time. I'm going to keep interrupting you because I love this story. Imagine the teacher reading that. Like, it's 9:30 p.m. She's had a glass and a half of Pinot Grigio. She's really fucking sick of these terrible essays. And then she gets to this. And she turns to her partner and is like, bitch, you got to read this. Because in my canon, the woman is gay. I don't know. I think I had a lot of queer professors and I just assume they are.
So she raises her concerns. And I don't know if it's like an internal Slack thing or just the college. You can communicate with your professors using this thing, whatever. They write back to her. One of them writes back to her, the main one. And I thought it was far more generous with their explanation than they needed to be. They just tried to tell her, you didn't do the assignment. That's why you got that grade. And then she shared screenshots of their conversation, I think, thinking they're going to prove my point. And
I'm sorry, who shared the screenshots?
Samantha Fulnecki shares these screenshots.
Thinking, oh, this is the smoking gun that shows all of the religious persecution.
And it's like Pete Hegseth saying, look at my signal chats. It's like, no, I don't think this makes you look good right now. Here's what the professor or the instructor said. Please note that I am not deducting points because you have certain beliefs, but instead I'm deducting point for you posting a reaction paper that does not answer the questions for this assignment, contradicts itself, heavily uses personal ideology over empirical evidence in a scientific class, and is at times offensive.
Wow. Good for her.
While you are entitled to your own personal beliefs, there is an appropriate time or place to implement them in your reflections. I encourage all students to question or challenge the course material with other empirical findings or testable hypotheses, but using your own personal beliefs to argue against the findings of not only this article, but the findings of countless articles across psychology, biology, sociology, etc., is not best practice. You argue that abiding by normative gender roles is beneficial, and in parentheses, it is perfectly fine to believe this, but to then say that everyone should act the same while also saying that people are not pressured into gendered expectations is contradictory.
That's what we said. We're as smart as a professor.
Especially since your arguments reflect a religious pressure to act in gender stereotypical ways. You can say that strict gender norms don't create gender stereotypes, but that isn't true by definition of what a stereotype is.
Oh my God.
Please note that acknowledging gender stereotypes does not immediately denote a negative connotation, a nuance this article discusses. Additionally,
oh my God,
to call an entire group,
the amount of emotional labor this teacher has put into this is admirable.
Additionally, call an entire group of people demonic is highly offensive, especially a minoritized population.
Who did she say was demonic? I mean, I know who she said was demonic. How did she say there?
I just said like trans people are demonic,
Satan,
or
you can
whatever.
see their little horn nubs.
You are entitled to your own beliefs, but this isn't a vague narrative of society pushes lies, but instead the result of countless years developing psychological and scientific evidence for these claims and directly interacting with the communities involved. You may personally disagree with this, but that doesn't change the fact that every major psychological, medical, pediatric, and psychiatric association in the United States acknowledges that biologically and psychologically, sex and gender is neither binary nor fixed. I implore you apply some more perspective and empathy in your work. If you personally disagree with the findings, then by all means share your criticisms, but make sure to do so in a way that is appropriate and using the methodology of empirical psychology as aligned with the learning goals in this class.
Wow.
If you have any additional questions or concerns about this or would like some additional educational resources, I would be happy to discuss this further and provide you with them. And right after that, the other instructor chimes in. Samantha, I'm the other instructor for this course, and I have also taken the time to read your paper. I concur.
Taking the 45 seconds?
Yeah, I concur with the first instructor on the grade you received. This paper should not be considered as a completion of the assignment. Everyone has different ways in which they see the world, but in an academic course such as this, you are being asked to support your ideas with empirical evidence and higher level reasoning. I find it concerning that you state at the beginning of your paper that you do not think bullying, teasing, is a bad thing. In addition, your paper directly and harshly criticizes your peers and their opinions, which are just as valuable as yours. Disagreeing with others is fine, but there's a respectful way to go about it. That goes for discussion posts as well as reaction papers. Please employ more thoughtfulness in your future assignments.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I love these instructors.
I love them.
I don't know anything about them at this point.
They are never going to pay for their own drink again in their life. Right. They are the heroes of this story.
So,
wow.
Those are
truly like the emotional labor that they put into explaining why just
like we're not giving you a 0 and saying bye.
No, this isn't like the way they put it. Like this did not fulfill the assignment at all. Like oh God, I don't know how I feel about being like, we don't love that you said you like teasing, because that feels so far beyond the point at this point of like, her shitty opinions are shitty. Like, we don't need to remind her of that. But
those were sensible comments from caring instructors who were trying to give her some constructive feedback so she could succeed in this field in the future.
Yeah.
That's it. Neither of them said and did. They never punished her for her beliefs or her views. They very much said, you can have whatever beliefs you want.
Yeah.
But you weren't asked to write a sermon. Like, that's it.
No, and truly the lack of care that went into it is so evident. It is clearly just somebody took her 10 minutes to write. It's just stream of consciousness. It does not fulfill a middle school paper. Like, even when I was in 7th grade, I knew how to, like, cite the fucking encyclopedia. Like,
so now we get to the fun part of this story, which is
right-wing backlash.
Oh, kind of.
Oh,
first of all, the instructors made it clear you're not being punished for your beliefs. And you know how we know she's not being punished for her beliefs? Because Samantha Fulnecki herself admitted she has cited the Bible on 2 earlier essays for the same class.
No.
And no one had a problem with it. Because whatever she was doing for the previous assignments,
it was relevant.
Like, it was fine. Like, you're allowed to cite the Bible. We're not mad at you for doing that.
Christians are really obsessed with that book.
They merely noted that, hey, for this assignment, for this paper, you didn't do what you were supposed to do. Now, a decent student would say, thank you for the constructive feedback and then try to do better. Or maybe just ask like, hey, listen, I clearly didn't do what you needed me to do. Can I write it again in a way that does fit the assignment? And I'm not changing my views.
And aligns with my values.
Yes. And maybe they would have been receptive. I don't know. Yeah. But she didn't bother with that. Do you know what she did? When she got the 0 and after that conversation with the instructors.
Post to social media?
No.
Oh.
She wrote an email to
the dean, the president of the United States,
Governor Kevin Stitt, the university president, the dean of her college, several reporters, the anti-teachers union group now headed up by Ryan Walters.
Oh, there's his cameo.
Because basically she now sees herself as Riley Gaines of essay writing, where you only fail upwards because the alternative is admitting you just ain't that good at the thing you're trying to do compared to your peers.
I guess
like you think you're owed a top score, but you're not talented enough to earn it.
I guess I just question why. Listen, I understand people don't take education as seriously as they should and all that stuff. But, like, I took classes I was interested in because I wanted to learn more about, like, literature and history and how things change and how we've expressed ourselves throughout time. If you're studying psychology and you're obviously not doing any of I think this is me being naive because I'm a dork and liked learning. Here it is. I just can't relate to like, why would you pay whatever, $20,000 a year to go in and...
I do have an answer for that.
Okay.
I'll get to it.
Wow.
Like, why is she paying tuition then getting mad when they're criticizing her for not doing the thing?
Like, why are you going to school? Like, why would you study psychology and just not study psychology?
Right.
That's like me being a lit major and being like, oh, but I don't read.
Here's the email she sent to the governor and everyone else.
I cannot fucking believe the governor.
In this situation, my instructor found it offensive to be quoting from the Bible. I don't believe I should receive...
She didn't quote. You didn't quote fucking anything. Just saying the Bible says is not what a quote is. You're a junior in college.
Also, she wasn't punished for using the Bible. But
no, she's punished for being an idiot.
Yes. She said, I don't believe I should receive a failing grade on an assignment based upon my opinion. I'm reaching out to all of you to see if you can help me.
Do you think she's been gearing up for this?
Oh, that is part of the discussion online.
Oh.
And then she writes, to be what I think is clearly discriminated against for my beliefs and using freedom of speech and especially for my religious beliefs, I think that's just absurd. That was the sentence. I said it correctly. That's what she wrote. Was that English? No, it wasn't.
Oh, my God. But if you're going to write the governor, you have to proofread your shit.
Yeah, you know we can FOIA that shit, right? Anyway,
oh, yeah.
Like, she wasn't punished for quoting the Bible. She wasn't punished for using the Bible in her response. She wasn't punished for being a Christian. She was punished.
I feel like we're saying the same thing over and over again.
In a shitty essay that didn't do the assignment. So 4 days later, according to the Oklahoman, she filed a formal discrimination complaint and an academic appeal with the school.
See, here's the problem in her plan is that people are going to have to read her shitty paper, and no matter what, they're going to be like, "Well, here's the thing. Smart."
At this point, no one has seen this paper. No one even knows this is happening because she wrote the email, but like that wasn't publicized. No one's written about any of this yet.
Okay, hold on. I'm sorry. Yeah. In terms of the exchange with the teachers,
yes.
So she gets her assignment back.
She gets her assignment back, or maybe the computer says you got a 0 on it. And she's like, "Why'd I get a 0 on this?"
Them saying like, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
And then
and that was the discussion we read.
Thoughtful things.
And then she immediately jumps to, "Hey, Governor." And Ryan Walters, I got something for you.
Oh, is she like Rush Limbaugh's niece or something like that?
We'll get there.
Yes, I knew it.
So, Turning Point USA, the Charlie Kirk group, they have a chapter at OU, at Oklahoma University, University of Oklahoma rather, and they post not only, here's a picture of Samantha, because why not?
Well, she's a pretty white girl.
And then they're like, here's her entire essay so you could see it for yourself.
Oh my God, the biggest self-own.
And the screenshots from their conversation with the instructors.
And who shared this? I'm so sorry.
Turning Point USA.
Oh my Lord, the friendly fire.
And the response, the caption for this post.
Hit me.
We should not be letting mentally ill professors around students. Clearly, this professor lacks the intellectual maturity to set her own bias aside and take grading seriously. Professors like this are the very reason conservatives can't voice their beliefs in the classroom. Kudos, Kuddos, kudos to Samantha for leading by example and standing up for what she believes in.
That settles it. This is my lucky day.
The responses, the comments.
This is the best day of my entire life.
The comments underneath
you so much.
That post were like, I think
Do you think they read it? Like Turning Point?
I think people started seeing this post and they started reading that essay and they're like, you guys.
Gang, this is not the hill we're going to die on.
This is one comment that got a lot of likes under Turning Point USA's Instagram thread. I think she failed because it didn't follow the rubric and the essay sounds like it was written by a 10-year-old.
Yes.
Meanwhile, right-wing politicians jumped all over this. Our friend Dusty Devers.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Classic Dusty.
He chimed in. He's a state senator. If a conservative professor gave a Muslim or transgender student a 0 for expressing their convictions, the university would treat it as a civil rights crisis. The standard must be the same when the student is a Christian.
Well, no is the thing. Just no.
No one's mad at anybody for expressing convictions. She didn't do the work.
I know I do this, like we do this a lot of like, imagine if a Muslim person did or said this, but the way they do it is so deeply intellectually dishonest. Also, Okay, this is really dumb, but can we talk about how people are just like saying transgender and not slurs anymore? Like, not obviously across the board, but like even bigoted people are like, I'm anti-trans. I don't believe in, like, they're not.
It's a step up.
It's, you know
it's
what?
It's a very small step up.
It's just a thing I know. Like when I yelled at that guy in the bar that one time, he like made like a liberal joke about like, oh, you're new transgender, whatever studies. And I was like, he said transgender. Yeah. Like, it's a step in the right direction. He didn't say an N-word or whatever.
State Senator Shane Jett. He's also a Christian nationalist. He argued this was the fault of DEI. He said the university's president should be fired because of this. I'm sure the university's president is like, the fuck are you talking about? I don't have anything to do with any of this.
Hey, Hammett, do you think these people are unserious?
Oh, Republicans unserious? What? State Representative Justin Humphrey said, I believe the instructor at OU, a graduate teaching assistant, violated the free speech rights of this student by giving her a failing grade for her Bible-based essay.
Okay.
I would like to call out OU's anti-Christian rhetoric and its woke policies, said Humphrey.
I don't think getting an A was in the Bill of Rights.
I think I forgot to mention this white woman is Christian. Therefore.
I'm so sorry. They are violating her freedom of speech
by not getting an A on a shitty
failing
essay.
A terrible essay because it mentioned God.
Now,
the backbends and pretzels my dudes are doing to make this work.
So,
do you think they've read it, or do you think they're all so dumb they read it and they're like, yeah, no,
it's been days now, and I'm pretty sure everyone has gotten a chance to read it, and they're still trying to defend this shit. Now, who you said, is she like Rush Limbaugh's niece or something? Her mother is a conservative conspiracy theorist.
Fuck yes, nailed it.
I believe was a lawyer for the January 6th rioters. And she's been spending the past week retweeting anti-trans propaganda in the wake of all this.
Well, good. I'm glad she's using her valuable time.
You asked a question of how did this person get to college and pay tuition to get a psych major and then not do any of the work to become a psychologist or something. The answer, as far as I could tell, I heard this online. Why would she go to a public school when she clearly does not want to?
Right.
And I think the answer is she made their tennis team. And according to the rosters I could find, I dug deep here. According to the rosters I could find, she was a red shirt freshman on the tennis team last year, meaning you made the team, but you're not there yet.
Yeah.
So you're not going to play yet because we want you to have 4 years of eligibility. So you're on the roster, but you're not going to suit up for any games anytime soon. That's a thing that happens in sports all the time.
Does that mean she's on scholarship?
Yeah, you're there on scholarship, but you're not playing on the team this year, but you're still practicing and all that. And next year, we will start putting you in because then you can have your eligibility.
Do you think we overvalue sports in the society?
Now, that's a real thing. And the funniest thing to me, last year, in the spring of 2025, last academic year, she was named to the SEC Academic Honor Roll. Which I'm like, I think that says more about the SEC's low bar, but okay. But then here's the thing. This year, which would have been her first year or second year of eligibility or something.
Okay.
She's not on the roster anymore. What happened? I don't know. Maybe she wasn't good at tennis and they said, we've seen you and bye. I don't know. I have no idea what the answer is. I don't want to disparage her tennis skills if she has them or whatever, but I don't know why she's not on the team. But to the question of why does she go to a public school when she is not qualified to do public school work?
Yeah.
And the answer is maybe it's because of tennis. I'm not sure. But the point is, listen, most students who fail an assignment, and it happens to the best of us, you keep it quiet out of embarrassment, maybe, but you talk to your professors. If you're paying tuition, it's literally one of the things you're paying for. Help me get better at this.
Talk to my professor. If they failed me, I am hiding from them for the rest of linear time.
That too.
The shame.
Also, the grad student caught up in the middle of this, and this goes to the conspiracy theory of, did she do this on purpose or something?
Yeah.
Well, it turns out the grad student who was teaching that class is trans.
Oh, there's
so
the
now
twist.
People are wondering, did she write this essay knowing she was going to trigger the professor, even though the professor's response, I say professor, I mean instructor, but even though the response from the instructor was nothing but constructive and I think very sensitive to what was happening here.
And clinical, it wasn't emotional.
Yeah. Like the instructor did everything you would hope anyone would do in terms of giving the student the grade they deserved and then carefully explaining why it was deserved, only to face all kinds of online harassment this week from conservatives, which is what has happened in the wake of this. By the way, OU's Department of Psychology, they had a post on there saying, hey, congrats to this teaching instructor, a grad student who works with us for getting this award. That post has been deleted. No. And I wonder if that's because the comment threads were getting heated.
That's
probably.
Of course why.
The university has responded to this whole mess a couple of days ago.
Well,
and they said, without going, I'm not reading all of this because it's boilerplate, but they did announce that teaching instructor has been placed on administrative leave while they investigate. Yep. While they investigate the matter.
This award-winning TA is...
Yep.
I was in such a good mood.
By the way, in response to that statement, which they posted on social media, several people responded with an image of a fake math test where, like, what's 2 plus 4? God. What's 97 plus 3? Jesus. And then the grade on there is 0 out of 20, F. And then the caption, I think my math teacher hates me for my beliefs, which is a hilarious same point.
I think that's AI slap that we're looking at.
Oh, it's very much fake. But that's the point. Like, you would not count this.
No,
obviously, it's clear what's happening here, but why are they going after... Why are they doing anything to the TA here?
Unless they answered Job, like Job Bluth from Arrested Development, I do believe that's just AI garbage.
There you go. So, like, at the end of the day, right now, this has become whatever cause celeb of the right these days. She's been on Fox News already, as you would guess.
Bless her heart.
She is very much trying to become the next Riley Gaines, which is I failed something, so I must go upward.
It's other people's fault.
It's everyone else's fault. I did everything right. I'm doing it because I'm Christian. And now you must reward me for standing up because I'm being persecuted as a white Christian in Oklahoma.
I'm being extremely brave.
Yeah. Like, so.
Wow.
The only person who behaved with integrity in this whole saga
the one being punished.
Is the one who's being punished.
Ain't that the way?
Right.
That's... Well, what a bummer to end that really fun story on.
Right. So that's where we're at today. I should say, at this point, Governor Kevin Stitt has spoken out.
Fuck you.
Basically saying, I don't know what he said, but they're basically all saying, yeah, I think the school should investigate this, and we'll see what decision they come to. How
much investigation do you have to do to just read that essay, read the assignment, and be like,
I don't know. She bared her whole ass for everyone to see. Like, we know what happened here. We
know exactly what happened.
There's no secret going on.
You showed it to me.
Yeah. Now, I have heard from some people who I respect, they're like, I gotta say, they have defended the essay. Not that she deserved a perfect score on it, but like a lower score, yes. Because they were saying, well, she did respond to the essay. No, she did respond to the article because she said, I see what the article says about trans people, and I don't like trans people, and here's what I have to say about that. But my argument is you're not actually responding to the text and the article and anything the article said. No, you just read the headline and said, you know what that brings up in me?
Yeah.
I read a book. It has woman in it. That reminds me of what God said about women. It's like, well, you didn't read the book.
No, it simply does not reach the level of a college paper. Like, you need to, like...
The other thing they said is that you're picking on a college student. I'm like...
Who's picking on a college student?
Anyone who's mocking this girl at this point.
The college student who emailed the governor because she failed a paper?
Yes, and the college student who is, by definition, an adult.
Oh.
An adult. Like, this isn't some high school kid who is underage and, like, everyone's piling on. She chose to do this. She chose to publicize this.
The people who think that she's still a kid are also the people who think you should be able to get married at 12. So, like, I don't know, man. Right. Like, I don't think anything they say is sincere.
Again, I'm only saying that to say there are people I respect who are like, I think you're off on this because... I mean, give her a smaller score. In terms of did she respond to the paper? Technically, she did.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, does it?
Okay, respond. No. Sorry. That's no.
I haven't changed my mind on that one.
But I think they're stupid and wrong.
Yeah, and the fact of what I've seen in the days since I first wrote about this, and the story's kind of gone viral in the past couple days, is that no, she's very much aware of how this is playing out, how the right is reacting to it. Every right-wing podcaster and whatnot today is commenting on this, acting like this is the biggest crisis facing education today.
The intellectual dishonesty is almost too much to bear.
You want to move to another story that's horrific?
Oh, no. Well, I'm glad I topped up my wine.
You got the wine.
There we go.
Let's talk about Minnesota.
God, we went on there for 45 minutes.
I figured that was going to be the big one. I'm like, wow, it's been 2 weeks. We have a lot to cover. Yeah. We'll get through one story.
I'm really regretting wearing a sweater. I'm sweating.
You go. So there was an article in ProPublica recently, and they do amazing work. And this is written by Jessica Lussenhop of ProPublica and Andy Mannix of the Minnesota Star Tribune. Find it online. I'll tell you what it's about in a second. Really worth reading in full. Right. But the story here involves a church in Duluth, Minnesota, and it's called the Old Apostolic Lutheran Church. Smaller church, whatever. The pastor's name is Daryl Bruckelmeyer. But here's the story as it begins.
Okay.
And it also involves a guy named Clint Massey, who is at the church, a member of the church.
Okay.
Basically, her father, there was a girl, her family attended this church.
Okay.
One day, her father drove her to a parking lot to meet the pastor and Clint Massey, who was also a member of the church. Basically, the allegation from the girl is that Clint Massey had abused her. And this father decides, and the pastor and all of them, they decide, let's meet privately. And you know what we're all going to do?
No.
We're all going to hug it out.
No.
So here's the article. In front of the girl, her father, and Bruckelmeyer, Clint Massey asked her for forgiveness. Looming over her, the three men wept. Then the girl's dad and preacher allowed the man who had been sexually abusing her since kindergarten to hug her. It was one of the worst things ever, she told police some 15 years later. In accordance with one of the core tenets of their church, the matter was resolved. It was forgiven. It should now be forgotten. If she spoke of it again, she would be guilty of having an unforgiving heart, and the sins would become hers. But she could never forget, and neither could the other children.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So this man is a serial abuser.
Uh-huh.
And the parent of one of the children. And these men, their whole brand is protecting their women.
Uh-huh.
Found out that somebody in authority had abused his daughter.
I don't even think he was in authority. He's just a dude at the church.
Okay, so some dude he knows started abusing his daughter when she was 5.
Yeah.
And then forgave him and bullied her into forgiving him and then letting that man touch her again.
Yeah.
The emotional manipulation of grown men crying at a child is really tough to stomach.
Now, here's another thing to keep in mind. Minnesota is a state where members of the clergy are mandated reporters. Now, when we have talked about mandated reporters in the past, it's always the issue of, well, what happens if someone privately confesses to what they did, or a child confesses they're a victim of abuse in the act of confession to a priest? Then does the priest, who is a mandated reporter, have to report that to law enforcement or some superior? And when we've talked about it, like in the state of Washington, the answer is, well, if you thought it was a private confession, the priest should not be obligated to tell anybody about it. Well, guess what? In this state, as far as we could tell, Bruckelmeyer, the pastor, learned about what Massey had done not in the context of confession. He just knew what had happened. Literally, they're meeting in the parking lot right now. He knows what's going on. He is still a mandated reporter. He is obligated to report it at this point.
And also he's a fucking human being who should have some kind of instincts to protect children.
Yeah.
That's sort of like one of our core tenets as human beings is not allowing young ones to just be passed around like a plaything.
So that meeting where the hug happened.
Was it at night?
Well,
I'm imagining it's at night, when, but like snowy.
She said she told police about this, or that it was the worst thing ever. 15 years later. So that's the timeline here. That happened like 15 years-ish ago. And the thing is, because Massey was like forgiven and then you better forget about what he did to you, right? Because of that, the abuse continued. Victim after victim. It was only this calendar year that he was finally sentenced to over 7 years in prison for multiple counts of basically abusing a child under the age of 13. And the fact that he was sentenced, though, it was not because of church cooperation, but because some people finally went around the church.
Wow.
Specifically, law enforcement became aware of the allegations in 2017 when some of the victims began to speak up. They said, there's law enforcement. Law enforcement said that the church's lack of cooperation, including pressuring potential witnesses and victims to stay quiet about the abuse, and preachers failing to report it to authorities, was a major factor in the delay in bringing charges. Now, one of the reasons the church never said anything is because they have an internal policy.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, on how to handle allegations of wrongdoing. And the solutions include things like taking care of the soul, but also not telling the cops. And that means the pastor, Bruckelmeyer, he faced no punishment, no matter how long the list of victims ever got. So how did law enforcement finally figure out what this guy was up to, Massey, if not from the pastor, because the pastor was never going to rat him out?
Was he just like fucking caught red-handed?
Right. Well, let's start with the girl who was told to hug her abuser. When she was 16, she began meeting with a secular counselor. Just a counselor, and she talked about her childhood and what Massey did to her. Well, that counselor, who is a mandated reporter who takes her job seriously, she told law enforcement, and they got more details from the girl at that point. And she basically told the sergeant, this is disturbing, but this is in the article, she used to sit with Massey and his wife Sarah at church, just a few rows from the front. Massey would snake his hands up her skirt and touch her thighs and genitals. Another time, at a gathering at the home of her parents' friends, she said, Massey told her to get a blanket and began touching her underneath it with her mom and dad nearby. Yeah.
God.
By the way, that woman, I mean, she's a woman now, she still goes to that church
today?
To this day because she believes, quote, she's in the right place. And by the way, her parents, though, including the dad who told her to hug it out, they stopped cooperating with the investigation because they also believe in the church's forgive and forget policy. In fact, the girl's mother said later she believed Massey had learned his lesson, all while he is still targeting other girls.
Why do people think someone learned their lesson just because they decided?
I don't know. But
I'm talking to you, Susan Collins.
So 2017 is when they find out, like, okay, now we have some on the record, like, this girl's talking to us, even if she doesn't want to press charges or anything, and she doesn't want to cooperate. This guy's on our radar now, right? He's on the radar, and over the next few years, the police start getting some anonymous tips that he's still abusing children and that the pastor knows about it.
Did they have, like, a hotline set up?
Pretty much.
Wow.
But the victims, in this case, still were not speaking up, maybe because they're part of this church and they're brainwashed. So the law enforcement tried something different. They went to the pastor and they're like, hi, do you know what mandatory reporting is like? Because we don't think you do. And here's what happened. The sergeant explained the state's mandated reporting law to Bruckelmeyer and basically said, I'm paraphrasing the story here, you know you could be criminally charged if you know something and you are not telling us about it. Right? And basically the law enforcement said, we thought this would be effective. Like, if you want to call this playing good cop, like, let's just go to the guy and say, hey, you could be in trouble.
Maybe you don't understand what the stakes are here.
And literally, this is the last part. I'm quoting this. When the sergeant spoke to Bruckelmeyer over the phone, she read him the entire mandated reporter law over the phone, line by line, then texted it to him. Like, you know. So they were treating this grown-ass man.
Very funny to me.
They were treating this grown-ass man like a child who doesn't know how basic laws work. They gave him the benefit of the doubt, thinking nothing else has worked. Let's try to just implore this guy to follow through on his legal
requirements.
Yeah. And none of it worked. This guy didn't change. He refused to do anything. So it wasn't until 2023 that something finally changed, only when one of Massey's own relatives told the police about the abuse she suffered. And at that point, there was a new sergeant who took over the case. He decided, let me try contacting that girl from 2017 whose family did not want to cooperate. Maybe something's changed. Like, at this point, that girl is now a married mother. She's probably still traumatized. And that is the case. Like, that officer's hunch was basically correct. She finally spoke up. And with the two other survivors who they could identify, this new sergeant began contacting other potential victims. Not all of them wanted to cooperate. Like, one of them, he said, one woman told this new sergeant that Massey had asked for forgiveness. The sin was washed away in the blood of reconciliation. It is gone forever. And the sergeant says, so you're following what the church says to do? She says, I am following what God says to do. Then hung up on him.
Oh.
Yeah. But at one point, this is the most disturbing thing so far.
Yeah.
At one point, this new sergeant is like trying to compile all this evidence, right? Him and his colleague bring Massey in for questioning, and he openly admits there could be hundreds of girls who have stories about me touching or kissing them.
What?
Yeah. He says in
his defense, he's saying that? Or is he just...
I'm paraphrasing, but they asked him, like, we've already spoken to a few alleged victims and stuff. Like, how many people are there who may say you touched them or kissed them inappropriately? I don't know, hundreds. Like, what? But unless any of these people speak up, you can't really do anything with that. They literally have video in the ProPublica article of the cops trying to talk to Massey.
Wow.
I'm sorry, not Massey, but Bruckelmeyer, the pastor, and another preacher. Like, you guys, you're mandated reporters. You got it. You know stuff. Talk to us.
Why aren't they charging these men? Because men protect each other. Hey, gang.
Well,
every time you can set your watch by it.
The thing is, by the time Massey finally faced criminal charges, the statute of limitations had run out for the pastor to be charged with anything for not being a mandated reporter. But because it took so long for everything to happen, many of the victims saw no justice for what happened. Now, here's the thing.
And how many victims...
How many were there?
Continued to compile.
Yeah. Court filings listed 9 alleged victims, but only 3 of the cases resulted in actual charges being filed. And the girl who was pressured to forgive him, she did not have her case charged either because it happened too long ago. Now, 6 of the victims whose cases didn't result in charges, they were part of the case. Some of them actually traveled to Duluth last December to testify at his trial.
Wow.
But guess what? Just after jury selection, when they're actually going to do the trial, I think Massey realized, like, oh, shit.
This is
and
real?
He's like, I'll just plead guilty to the 4 felony counts.
Thank Christ.
And the thing about that, one of those charges is dropped, so that's why he only got charged with 3. That's why he's in jail today. But because he pleaded guilty, that means none of those survivors got to take the stand and say what he did to them because he already pleaded guilty. Yeah. So if there's any lesson to take from this story, it's that these situations are never about one predator. It's the entire religious ecosystem engineered to protect him.
Yeah.
It shows how forgiveness can be used as a shield. It's weaponized. And that's also why mandated reporting exists, because you cannot trust these religious groups to police themselves when the stakes are this high.
You're like, I'm sorry. I know I say it all the time and I know people are over it, but like men are out there going to protect men. You cannot see a story like this happening with just a revolving door of victims. You would not allow that to happen if you thought that girls and women were like whole human beings in their own right. You just simply wouldn't. Like, that's why it's so frustrating when men talk about this masculine energy of, oh, I protect mine or whatever. No, you're not. You're just simply not. And B, women don't need protecting. We need partnership. And like when men are like, oh, I have to protect my woman. Do you think it's because men know what bullshit other men pull off? They all know. I know you don't know because no men talk to you. It's
I don't
okay.
talk to anyone.
But like, they talk, this locker room, when people talk about locker room talk, it's because when they're in locker rooms, they talk about fucking terrible things. And it's inappropriate. And you would not do that if you genuinely thought women were whole human beings in their own right. I'm pretty fucking mad right now. Even sweatier.
Let me jump to a different story here.
Oh, West Virginia and
West
vaccines.
Virginia. Let's talk about that.
Okay.
So here's the thing about West Virginia. Deeply red state, obviously. Strangely enough, they have one of the best vaccine policies in the country.
They sure do.
Yeah. State law requires kids to have all their shots if they want to enter public school, unless there's a medical reason. But there's no exemptions for that. There's no exception other than medical reason. So,
but they just got a new governor, and he's a twat face.
So here's the thing. The state also has some of the highest like diabetes and heart disease rates in the country. But even and childhood vaccination rates, like babies getting vaccinated, super low. It's really bad. The weird thing is West Virginia's incredible when it comes to school age vaccination rates, because you're not allowed to go to school unless you're vaccinated. So even parents who are like, I don't want my baby getting vaccinated. Well, you want your kid to go to school, right? And the answer is yes. I also don't
want my kid hanging around the house all day.
So when they want to send their kids to school, they're like, shit, I got to get my kid all the shots.
And then their kid is fine.
And it works. Like West Virginia leads the nation when it comes to school-age vaccination rates. So that's the power of good public health policy. And until recently, that policy enjoyed support from medical experts, some right-wing political leaders, like you mentioned, the former governor, Jim Justice, even during COVID. He was all for everyone getting vaccinated, which is not what a lot of Republicans and church leaders were saying. So that's the power of that thing. Now, when not only that, when Republican lawmakers in West Virginia tried to loosen the mandate to say, what if, not just medical reasons, what if you have religious reasons for not wanting to get vaccinated?
What if I just don't want to?
Jim Justice vetoed that bill, saying that would have been irresponsible. He said, West Virginia historically has seen very few instances of these diseases, specifically because the vaccination requirements in the state are so strong. Importantly, the vaccines at issue have been required in the state for decades and have kept our community safe. Awesome. Now, don't give Jim Justice too much credit, because before he left office, he also signed into law something called the Equal Protection for Religion Act, which says, like, government should not get in your way if you're practicing your faith. And now, here's the thing. The current Republican governor, the guy who took over after Justice was term limited out.
Guy. He's a carpetbagger.
Yep, that guy is Patrick Morrisey. He's the new Republican governor. He issued an executive order in January when he took office, demanding that state health authorities allow religious exemptions to the vaccine mandate.
Most important issue of our day.
State law still said vaccinations must be given unless you have a medical excuse. And it's basically the question of what matters more, the law or your executive order, right? And so the West Virginia Board of Education said, ignore the executive order. The law says get vaccinated, so we're sticking to it. And all of a sudden, there were a bunch of people who had asked for religious exemptions to getting vaccinated. 570 people had asked for religious exemptions, and the governor had said yes to all of them. He approved them.
Oh, my God.
But the State Board of Education said, hey, schools, you don't take any of these.
Suck a big one.
Yeah. And that led to a lawsuit to be filed by one of these parents. Her child was removed from public school, even though she had requested and gotten a religious vaccine exemption. And this lady, who's a Christian, she said that vaccinating her child would demonstrate a lack of faith in God, and it would disobey the Holy Spirit's leading. All of that is bullshit, obviously. But because it is her sincerely held religious belief, a circuit court judge, Michael Frobel, he bought it.
Fuck you, Michael.
Yeah, and he said recently that the statewide policy forbidding religious exemptions for vaccine mandates is illegal under the Equal Protection for Religion Act. In fact, he issued a preliminary injunction in October, but this is the actual ruling now. And he says, yep, you can't do it. You guys have been substantially burdened by the policy.
Your health has been... You know what's the terrible thing is they live for so much longer, and it's like, ugh, who has the time?
And you know who is substantially burdened by unvaccinated kids going to school? Kids? Everyone else. Yeah. So
the kids who die.
Here's the thing. Frobel said that the judge, he said it would be fine for these 570 unvaccinated students to attend public school because they represent, quote, less than 1% of the statewide student population and therefore would not jeopardize herd immunity.
Oh, so now you care about herd immunity.
I mean, yeah, he's like, you guys, come on, you're burdening them. And like, the thing is, you are allowed to burden someone's religion, their religious beliefs, if you have a compelling reason to do it. Isn't this a pretty damn compelling reason?
I am constantly being burdened by everything, by people's expectations of me.
This judge is saying...
by my dog's mean looks.
There you go. This judge is saying, government doesn't have a compelling reason because 570 unvaccinated kids is just a small fraction of you people.
So does that mean it's closed? It's closed door? Those 500 people can do it and everybody else has to?
If exemptions are widely available...
More people are going to do it.
Normalized, more people are going to do it because now they know, oh, not only will we get it approved, the school districts are going to be forced to take it.
Right.
So, you're opening the floodgates. That's kind of the problem here.
Yeah.
Like, congrats, West Virginia. Kids are in danger because conservatives love measles more than your kids. Mm-hmm. Now, the State Board of Education plans to appeal this. But for now, they've suspended their policy rejecting religious vaccine exemptions. Morrissey is super happy. He's like, today's ruling is a win for every family forced from school over their faith.
And if a double-decker ball...
Now, I will just tell you, just to skip way ahead here.
Morrissey joke.
Nicely done. I will just skip ahead. I heard they're a band of sorts.
He's a person.
Now, on Tuesday of this week, the West Virginia Supreme Court temporarily paused the decision from going into effect because they said, we're going to weigh in on this. So they paused it for now. And that means the Board of Education does not have to take religious exemptions seriously for now.
Okay.
So that is good news.
So we're in good shape right now.
We're still in good shape in West Virginia right now.
And is the fact that the Supreme Court stepped in and paused it, can we take that as a positive sign?
I mean, the alternative right now is letting that judge's ruling stand. So it's like, I'll take any pause right now. I don't know what they're going to do on this one.
Right.
I don't know if this conservative Supreme Court's going to be like, maybe vaccines are good because herd immunity would disappear if this is allowed. But
interesting.
Depressing, disturbing.
Is there... Now I'm about to... really reveal how little I understand the law. Is there any way that I know it's a state law, but is there any like federal jurisdiction there that it could somehow be run up to the Supreme Court? Because I feel like we've heard stories before that something's been taken.
It's a fair question. I don't know the answer.
Okay. Well, good. I don't feel as dumb as I.
Let's jump to a different story in Florida here. On December 23rd, you will be happy to know, at the Sanger Theater in Pensacola, they're going to host a drag queen Christmas.
Yep.
It's adults only, but performers are going to perform what the website said is a fabulous remix of classic Christmas hits and dazzling themed variety performances.
Fun.
So it sounds nice. And people are very mad, though.
Oh.
Very mad because this is happening on December 23rd. And don't you know... Christians own the month of December.
Wait. Oh, my God.
Yeah. So this show was first announced in October, and local activists have been trying to get this thing shut down.
Under
what
grounds?
law? Yes, on what grounds? Here's the grounds they're using. This is Todd Leonard, the president of Micah 6-8 Ministries of Pensacola. I'm sure it's a verse of some sort. I don't care. He said the city has... I'm going to paraphrase. The city has a contract with some management company, and the contract says, hey, management company, you're in charge of getting seats in this theater. Like, you run the programming, you sell the tickets, and because it's a city-owned theater, but they outsource it. It's like the Kennedy Center. They kind of did the same thing. They had a group of people who were in charge of all the programming, even though it's like technically a federally controlled thing, and now Trump has taken it over, and no one's going anymore. Anyway, here, the Christian ministry said the city has a contract with the managing company, and the city has the authority to review and cancel this type of event. Because apparently the contract says if the city doesn't like what the management company does, they can overrule all of it. Now, The thing is, like, the theater and the management company, they're not going all in on drag or anything. I looked at their calendar for the month of December. This month, they have A Christmas Story, the musical.
Okay.
They have a soul music-themed chocolate-covered Christmas carol. They have the Pensacola Children's Chorus singing songs. They have a local ballet performing the Nutcracker.
Hell yeah.
It's all family-friendly. The drag show is one night specifically for adults.
And these people are just mad for... This is a new one. Because this isn't like... This isn't drag queens reading to kids. This isn't an all ages thing.
Nope. And by the way,
this is just a drag show.
Even though it's adults only, there's no nudity or obscenity. Maybe some edgy jokes.
And I'm so
but
sorry.
Like, that's it. Go have fun one night.
The state of Florida, which houses the city of Miami, they're gonna pretend that like they don't allow drag or what? Like what? Have you been to Florida?
So. And the city is worried.
And it's sinking. Like, come on, gang. Focus up.
Even if none of that were true and the Christians' claim had any merit, consider what would happen if the city overruled this decision and canceled the event. Now they got a First Amendment crisis.
Well, then we would be in a fascist state still.
There you go. Now, what about the financial component? Like, isn't the city using taxpayer money to put on this show? Because maybe that gives some claim to the Christians. I don't know. The thing is, the city pays this company, this management company, $150,000 a year to fill up the theater's calendar and sell tickets, and the city gets a fraction of it. And like, whatever, it works for them.
Yep.
They put on about 110 shows a year. It amounts to about $1,300 to $1,400 a show. One local activist, he launched a GoFundMe to say, if all of you are worried about taxpayer dollars, I'm doing a GoFundMe for like $1,400. So we're going to offset the tax revenue that you're worried about spending. So stop complaining it's about that. Just to try something.
And unserious people. This is what we're dealing with.
Now, if this was a back and forth between ignorant Christians who have nothing better to do and people who like appreciate different types of art, maybe no one would care. But now the Attorney General, James Uthmeyer, he's injecting himself into the controversy.
Attorney General of Florida?
Yeah, they have one. Pam Bondi was the one. And then she got elevated to Trump's attorney.
Sure.
And then they hired someone else. I forgot what happened to him. And now it's Uthmeyer.
Ooh.
Anyway, he sent a letter to the Pensacola City Council last month saying, you need to cancel this obscene anti-religious drag show. And his reasoning was, you can decide if it makes you cry or laugh. He said, it openly mocks one of the most sacred holidays in the Christian faith.
Is this based off the flyer?
I think so. They're singing Christmas carols.
How is he? Okay.
So it's openly mocking Christmas.
You hate to see it.
Yeah. He's like, they're singing and parodying Christmas music. They're not burning an effigy of baby Jesus.
Is it illegal to parody Christmas? Oh my God. SNL's going to be terrible this year.
Uthmeyer said one performer's name on the flyer is Trinity. He's like, that's a quote, not so subtle stab at the fundamental doctrine of Christianity. Do you know why the drag performer is named Trinity?
Because she loves the Blade movies?
Close.
Yeah.
She loves The Matrix, and that's Carrie Ann Moss's character.
I knew,
so close.
God damn it.
So close.
I knew there was another like big Trinity person.
Now, what about the fact that this is an adults-only show?
The Matrix is also sort of a low-key
right-wingers like that one too.
Yeah.
What about the fact that this is an adult-only show? Uthmeyer said it doesn't matter because
kids can sneak in.
3
kids stacked on each other in a trench coat.
Kids will be outside the theater. He said it will be playing in the middle of downtown at the same time as Pensacola's family-friendly Winterfest. So, while Pensacola children are taking pictures with Santa, men dressed as garish women in demonic costumes will be engaged in obscene behavior mere feet away. Yeah, in a different, I'm setting aside the misgendering or whatever he's doing there.
Plot.
Yeah, he's saying they're over there, feet away.
Because there's going to be children in the city at the same time.
At the same time. Yeah, you're in that building performing the drag show, but there are kids outside doing something else. So you're proximity.
So Mikey used to work at...
I said misgender. That's the wrong word to use here.
Yeah, it's definitely not respecting their identity. That's for fucking sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey used to work at the Hyatt O'Hare for like an AV company. And there's a lot of conventions and stuff there. And one time on one convention floor, it was this porn award convention. And the other one was like a teen dance competition. So like, if that was okay, and if everybody survived that, which I assume they did, because I feel like I've heard about it.
These crowds are not mingling, is the point.
And also, like, it's truly like the It's a Good Life. You know that Twilight Zone episode of It's a Short Story. It's a Good Life of like everybody has to be smiling all the time. Otherwise, the kid, like, if the kid is just aware that somebody is unhappy, they'll like blink him out of existence. That's like this. They're like, if kids are within 1 square mile of you, you must keep all of your clothes on at all time. This is a reasonable expectation from me, the Attorney General of Florida.
Uthmeyer also said, hey, you remember that Christian ministry that didn't like it? So he said, Pensacola residents categorically reject this show's content as a threat to the moral fabric and general welfare of the community.
Just because your Aunt Barbara is mad does not mean we need to cancel this whole thing, sir.
Yeah. He says there's no threat of a meaningful First Amendment challenge to this show's cancellation.
Are you sure? Are you sure there's no threat? Are you sure, Attorney General, that there's no First Amendment threat
you will like
to
this.
Canceling a show because you don't like boys in heels?
You will like this. The Pensacola City Council, they got this letter from him, and they're like, yeah, let's not listen to anything he's saying. With all due respect to the Attorney General's office, this was an unsolicited opinion. We did not ask for a legal opinion from this person, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a personal opinion written on government letterhead wasting taxpayer dollars, said Councilman Charles Baer.
There you go.
And then several city councilors said they saw it as more of a personal opinion, too. One councilman, Casey Jones, said it doesn't seem like there are any pertinent case files mentioned in the letter. And the vice president of the city council, Allison Patton, said, I think there was a passing reference to the First Amendment in this letter, which strikes me as a less than thorough vetting of this incident. So basically, they called his bluff. They're like,
what the fuck are you going to do?
They said, hey, out of curiosity, if we do cancel this show, will you pay all of our legal bills when we get sued for the First Amendment stuff? Because we totally will be.
Yes, and
WEAR News asked the Attorney General both Friday and Monday if they would cover legal fees related to the show's cancellation and have not gotten a response.
Oh, no. It's almost like they haven't thought through a single thing they do or say.
So right now the show is on December 23rd, and everyone seems like normal about it, except for the usual suspects.
I mean, they can protest if they want. It's only going to bring more attention to it.
They would be protesting by the kids.
Oh, my God. Think of the children.
Okay. I'm jumping to another story because it's along the same lines, and you're going to love this one.
Great.
Okay. There is a celebration taking place on December 13th and 14th in Ventura County, California, on the Ventura Fairgrounds. Fun. And it's called Merry Gothmas. Yeah.
Oh.
It is a family-friendly 2-day festival. It's basically a, like, craft marketplace.
Do you know what? There is a place, I'm going to look it up while you're talking, nearby us that I've been to a bunch of times, that it's the Krampus Mart or something like that.
There you go. Yes.
I'll have to look up where that was.
If you look up Merry Gothmas, it's very much it's like a Nightmare Before Christmas vibes the entire way through. It's adorable. And they also say on their website, at Merry Gothmas, all are embraced. Straight, LGBTQ+, BIPOC, body positive, sex positive, neurodivergent, and unapologetically unique. Whoever you are, whatever you are, you belong here. So, fantastic. Now, this is the second year they're doing this, which means it's a little bigger than before. They're getting more scrutiny. And recently, a coalition...
The G-Man Tavern is where the Krampus Mart is this year.
A coalition of religious leaders sent a letter to the head of the Ventura County Fairgrounds, because it's county sponsored, and they said, you need to shut this shit down because of its serious and deliberate offense against Christians. I won't read the entire letter, but some of the things they pointed out here. These references to spirits, witchcraft, and darkness are all not very subtle references to the occult, Practices of this type are offensive to Christians and inimical to Christian belief. The titling of this event as Gothmas is not a mere harmless pun. It is an attempt to distort the name of Christmas, a solemn and religiously significant holiday for Christian believers.
Oh, so solemn.
My favorite part of the letter. An event of this type poses a grave threat to the spiritual health of the people of Ventura County. Permitting such an event to proceed under a name that also mocks Christianity is grievously inappropriate. Any such names intended to mock religious beliefs and to promote events offensive to those religions have no place in a public space, such as the Ventura County Fairgrounds. ... A bunch of Catholics signed it. And also one rabbi from what I could gather as a pretty liberal Jewish synagogue. And that was just weird. But anyway, they wrote that letter. They sent it off. By the way, Christmas is a pagan holiday anyway. What are you complaining about?
Yeah, absolutely. It's insane. It's madness.
Last week, the group running the Gothmas event posted a statement on Instagram saying, there's nothing harmful, hateful, or inappropriate about our celebration.
Right.
They said, we support freedom of expression, theirs and ours, and they want to be shown some respect too.
Good.
So I spoke to Christina Diaz, who is the person in charge of the group putting on Merry Gothmas. And basically, Christina said, we're not backing down because we're never here to alienate anybody.
Sure.
Lawyers can...
And you guys are just bullying us.
Yes. Like, if Christians decide to sue over this or the city cancels them, lawyers can hash it out. But Christina made it clear to me there's nothing anti-Christian about any of this.
Interesting.
And said the festival's going on as scheduled because there's demand for it. So that's it. That's the plan right now. I hope that's how that story ends.
Babies they are.
Right? I'm jumping ahead. I know we're going late, but I want to cover a couple more things here. One is that we have an update on the 10 Commandments case in Texas.
Oh, great.
I need to give you the quick backstory, which is Texas passed a law saying put the 10 Commandments, King James Version only, up in public schools. And Ken Paxton even said, the Attorney General, he said, if any districts get sued over this, taxpayers are going to cover it. He said that in the law. And then
I think that means he knows what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah. A lawsuit was filed by the ACLU of Texas, the ACLU National, Americans United, Freedom from Religion Foundation. They filed a lawsuit basically saying, hey, we have a dozen families we're representing here. They go to 11 different school districts, and these families will be harmed if you put up the 10 Commandments there. And in August, a federal judge...
Is this the original 11 or is this the expanded pack?
Original.
Okay.
And in August, a federal judge said, I'm not ruling yet, but for now, I will issue a temporary injunction saying those 11 districts cannot put up the 10 Commandments no matter what the law says, no matter what Ken Paxton says.
Perfect.
Why is he doing that? Because it's August and school's about to start.
Right.
So that's 11 districts. School begins. Some schools start putting up some posters because now, remember, after that lawsuit happened, like the church state side, they sent a letter to every school district in the state saying,
fucking do it.
Hey, I know they passed this law. We just got an injunction in this lawsuit, so don't even think about it. Ken Paxton sends a letter to every school district saying, I'm Attorney General. This is the law. You better do it. So what the hell are these school districts supposed to do? They're like, we have schools starting. Let us do our job.
They should write them on an Etch-a-Sketch, and then if they have to erase it.
So some of these school districts do put up the posters.
Sure.
And before long, the church state crowd files an amended lawsuit saying there are 14 more school districts we have identified that have put them up. Hey, judge, step in and stop them. And the judge said, yeah, I'm going to step in and stop them. So, hey, other 14 districts.
Yeah.
You can't do it either. And in that time since, and I think that's the last time we talked about this, like there's a state senator, Mays Middleton, Christian nationalist. He started donating his own posters to these school districts because the law says if someone donates them to you, you got to put them up.
Cool.
So he's egging on these districts.
Which is such a fucking insane law that every time you say that out loud, I just think that is unhinged behavior.
Yeah. So here's what
it makes
happened.
Me want to donate dumb shit to schools.
Here's what happened this week. This is why I wanted to bring this up.
Okay.
The church state side just took the biggest step so far. Instead of asking a judge to do this again with a slightly expanded group of districts, they're saying, hey, we want to file a class action lawsuit. We want you to put a blanket stop to every district in the state. We don't care about your eventual ruling. tell all these districts right now, there are more than 1,000 school districts in Texas.
Yeah.
We need you to issue a blanket injunction. None of them can put it up right now. And if they have them up, they got to take them down.
Okay.
And so that lawsuit explains why it's important. They said, if plaintiffs are compelled to pursue relief in multiple counties or even federal districts across Texas, the same core facts and legal theories could yield divergent outcomes on different timelines, resulting in both confusion among defendants and a needlessly increased risk that members of the plaintiff class will suffer violations of their constitutional rights.
There you go.
So don't do this piecemeal. Let's not play whack-a-mole.
Yeah.
Just shut everyone down. That's the thing they are now asking the judge to do. We will see if it happens. That's your update on that story. And I got one more for you that I didn't get a chance to tell you, but this is too important not to talk about. It's the last one we'll do. And it's a major ruling from the United Kingdom.
Oh.
In Northern Ireland, in the UK, they teach religious education.
Right.
In Northern Ireland, the UK Supreme Court just said their version of religious education is unlawful because it treats Christianity as if it's true. And they said
this is Northern Ireland?
Yeah. And they said religious education is supposed to be objective, critical, and pluralistic. But the reality is, like, this started in 2019, this particular case. The child, who is anonymous in court documents, they attended what we would call a public elementary school. And her parents said, hey, our child is coming home saying things like God created the world and they're saying Christian prayers at home. Where are they getting that bullshit from?
Why?
Why
this?
And the school said, they're just going to religious education class.
Sure.
And like, if you don't like it, you're allowed to take your child out of the religious education class.
Okay.
The problem is they're like, no, because we do want our child to learn religious education.
Just objectively, not subjectively.
Yes. And plus, if we remove her from the class, we're worried she'll be bullied or isolated as a result. So eventually, here's the thing. This became a larger issue because the school's saying, well, we're just following the law when we're teaching these religious education classes. So what does the law say? Well, the law says two things in particular. It says that every one of these, like what we would call public schools, they shall include collective worship. So they all pray together.
Okay.
And it also says the religious education shall be the undenominational religious education. That is to say, education based upon the Holy Scriptures.
Okay.
So their version of religious education is, it's got to be Christian.
Teaching the Bible?
But it can't be like Lutheran or anything. Like, we're not going to get specific. But yeah, generically Christian, sure.
I see.
So not only do they say religious education should be based on the Scripture, it's also, we're going to do collective worship.
Okay.
So the parents are like, it sounds like the law is the problem here. And by the way, if you look at learning objective, like they have the textbooks and the curriculum because it's nationalized.
Sure.
Like if you look at learning objective 1, the revelation of God. What should the kids do here? Pupils should begin to develop an awareness, knowledge, understanding, and appreciation of the key Christian teachings about God, about Jesus Christ, and about the Bible, and begin to develop an ability to interpret and relate the Bible to life. Like, that's lesson 1. It's very much not objective. And also, teachers... I mean,
is this like the real Bible or like an extreme teen Bible that they get to read?
Just generic Bible.
Cool.
And the curriculum goes on to say, teachers need students to learn that God is the creator of all things, that prayer is a way of talking to God so we can thank him, praise him, say sorry, ask for help. You have to develop a respect for God, and you need to connect Christian moral principles to their personal and social life.
Okay.
So, like, this is not objective at all.
This doesn't feel like a especially important education.
No, that too. So it's pro-Christian propaganda. Why wouldn't it be? When it was written in 2007, when that law was passed, it was written by the 4 main Christian churches in Northern Ireland.
Oh, they can get along.
They got along to write that curriculum. Huh. And the thing is, other religions are barely mentioned. The only time students are required to learn about non-Christian beliefs is through a single unit on world religions when they're practically in high school.
Yeah.
Like,
and you learn about like Buddhism, end of list.
Yeah. And the father later explained in an affidavit, like, I find...
Please do this in an Irish accent. Stop.
I can't.
Stop it. Oh my God. I cannot believe you almost did it.
I am an actor. I find certain aspects of Christian morality and ethics in Northern Ireland to be disturbing, such as the long-standing and continued discrimination by the main churches against LGBT people in Northern Ireland, and I do not want my daughter to be taught that such intolerant and potentially harmful beliefs are true, rather than based on an assumption that the Bible is the infallible word of God.
Well, and certainly Ireland has no history of using religion to damage people or entire cultures, so they're safe, I'd say.
So in 2022, the High Court in Belfast, they ruled that, quote, a fair analysis of the syllabus leads to the conclusion that the religious education curriculum is not conveyed in an objective, critical, and pluralist manner.
Sure.
Like, the dad's right.
And I'm sorry, you said the law that you read, the thing about part 1, learn who God is or whatever.
Yeah.
Is that this school district or is that the Northern
Irish religious education curriculum?
Interesting.
Yeah. So the High Court in Belfast said, yeah, the dad's kind of got a point.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Now that decision was appealed by the Department of Education and it was then overturned. The Court of Appeals said the curriculum is pro-Christian, but you can take your kid out of that class, so there's no legal problem here. It's not indoctrination if you can opt out.
Separate but equal, guys. It's always worked.
So there was another appeal, and this is how it got in front of the UK Supreme Court, and they recently unanimously agreed that the religious education curriculum in Northern Ireland amounted to Christian indoctrination, and it's unfair to ask the family to opt out if they want to avoid it. They said there is no commitment in the core syllabus to objectivity or to the development of critical thought. To teach pupils to accept a set of beliefs without critical analysis amounts to evangelism, proselytizing, and indoctrination.
Yeah.
Conveying knowledge in a manner which is not objective, critical, and pluralistic on the one hand, and indoctrination on the other are, as I have just said, different sides of the same coin.
Wow.
So, amazing.
That's great.
The result of this decision is that students in Northern Ireland will soon have to learn about the beliefs of other religions and non-religious philosophy from a young age. And also, the way Christianity is taught to them will have to be made objective. Like, massive rewrites are about to happen.
Ooh, cool.
After 2 decades of this curriculum in place. I spoke to Northern Ireland Humanists coordinator, Boyd Slater, and he told me that, like, the way, I was like, how is this actually going to change now?
Yeah.
He's like, we don't know. Like, is the government going to assign a task force to rewrite the curriculum? We don't know.
We're in the hinterlands here.
Who's going to be assigned to do that? We don't know. But I was like, so this could still end pretty badly then, right? And he was like, no, I think this is going to work out fine. He was like, cynical.
They don't have Christian nationalists the way we do.
Not in the same way, right. And so he was like, no, I think this will happen. Now, the way this happens, it may take a while, and like maybe some more lawsuits are going to have to happen if things don't work out.
Sure.
But he seemed optimistic that this will eventually work. The lawyer for the family, that's still anonymous, he called this ruling probably the single most important legal decision for education, certainly in the last century.
Dang.
Yeah. Now, there was one conservative politician, Jim Allister, who basically said, the language used, particularly the inflammatory term indoctrination, is an affront, not only to teachers and parents, but to the Christian foundations upon which our education system has long rested.
And always worked out great for everyone.
Yeah,
Definitely not pits in Ireland with bodies of babies in there. No, sirree, not us.
The UK Supreme Court did its job. Now educators and lawmakers need to do their job. But that was just some wonderful news coming out of the UK.
We don't get a lot of W's like that.
I know it's been a lot, so I'll stop there. Woo! We have a lot. What are we talking about in the bonus episode today?
Well, I made some really good chili today.
Excellent.
So I want to talk about my chili. And I actually have not thought of anything. Oh, I went to the dog park yesterday. Well, that's the end of that story. I don't know. I don't have a ton of things.
I watched some shows. I will tell you all about them.
Oh, good. I need shows to watch. So you can
please leave us reviews on the iTunes or whatever people listen to podcasts on these days. Go to patreon.com/friendlyatheist podcast. Watch this on video for a second time. Why not? And I hope you listened to the interview we posted last week. It
was news.
Good.
I have a really good new one.
Oh, new review. Read it.
It's from, all one word, The Lizard People.
Excellent.
And it's called Bunch of Crybabies.
Oh, my God.
1 star.
Yes.
Their whining tone is exhausting. They just come off as miserable people. I'm not miserable. I have clinical depression.
I feel seen.
It would be so much more interesting if they got into historical evidence supporting their feelings toward God and religion.
Why isn't your podcast not the podcast I intend to listen to?
Might actually learn something then.
I love it.
That is a really fun thing of, why isn't your podcast a different one? Why don't you do the thing I was thinking of? That's good work. Nice work, everybody.
People, you need to cancel out that review by giving us 5 stars.
Yeah, truly. You can always email us at friendlyatheistpodcast@gmail.com, patreon.com/friendlyatheistpodcast. You can see videos of the podcast up here. Hopefully in the new year, we'll start releasing those a little bit more widely, but I need to make sure I know what I'm doing first. And so far the answer is no.
We'll see you next week.
Goodbye. Bye.